Sabrina here. I'm doing something a little different for you today. I had a really great idea for a video, and I don't know if this will turn into a tag. If anybody else sees this and they want to do it, hey, you are more than welcome to it. I was thinking the other day about all of the stupid and funny now things that I did when it came to beauty when I was growing up, and there are some funny stories that I had to share with you, and maybe you've done some really silly things too that weren't really funny at the time when you did them, but you look back now and you just can't help but laugh. My first funny beauty mistake that I made when I was probably in middle school, I'd have to say, was when I was experimenting with Sunless Tanner. And this was when it first came out. It was the newest thing out on the market and everybody was fascinated by it, especially pale little girls like me. So I put it all over my legs, and I only wanted it on my legs because my legs are white, you know, like ghost white. I wanted to have a little bit of color, so I just thought I was so slick, you know, putting this Sunless Tanner all over my legs. Well, when they dried, I had applied too much of the Sunless Tanner onto my kneecap area. And back then, the Sunless Tanners were not as sophisticated as they are now. So it had settled into all the little lines that were in my knees and made it look like my knees were dirty. So when I finally realized that I have dirty knees, I'm like, I'm not gonna wear shorts to school at all. Well, that worked up until gym class when they made you wear shorts. And I had to come out with these dirty looking knees. So needless to say, I have stayed away from sunless tanning lotions ever since. Second funny story has to do with an at-home straightener kit. You can already see where this is going, right? Well, this was during the time when straightening your hair was like the big to-do, and having big, curly, massive hair like I have wasn't really the thing that people wanted. They wanted to have that very nice, sleek blowout look, and the Brazilian blowout was becoming more popular during this time, and I didn't really want to do that to myself, so I figured I'd try an at-home straightener instead. So I'm reading the directions, you know, and it says apply liberally to your hair, and you know, liberally to me means just slap that stuff on, right? So I did. Oh. Well, I really wanted like the crown of my head to be really, really straight, because that was where a lot of my big curls were. So I just slapped a bunch of it onto the crown of my head, and then I guess you had to let it sit in there for a little while, you know. And then it says rinse out, shampoo like normal. I go to get in the shower after I'd had it on all this time, and my hair is mush. Oh my gosh! I couldn't get my fingers through it. I couldn't get shampoo into it. It was a clump of hair on the back of my head. Now I'm just freaking out. I'm like running at this point to my hairstylist and just bawling my eyes out at this point. What happened was she ended up having to cut a chunk out of the top of my head. So I had like maybe that much hair left on the crown of my head, and it was that bad, and I had to chop a lot of the rest of my hair off as well at the same time, which is why I'm so against short hair now for myself. I don't look good with short hair. So I had to wear my hair in all kinds of crazy configurations for so long because I had to hide having this much hair up on the crown. Oh, I cried for weeks. It was awful. Since then, I have not ever done anything home related with my hair. I always go to the hair salon. I always recommend that anyone else go to the hair salon too. Don't mess with your hair. My third funny beauty mishap had to do with clown blush. Oh dear, I think we all tried this at one point. When I was 14, I was first getting into makeup, and my dad went and bought me all kinds of, you know, makeup products, and I had the really bright pink blush, and yeah, I put it on, and it was my first time putting it on right before going to school, and I packed it on. I had streaks. It looked like the Energizer Bunny had exploded on my face. I strutted up in school, you know, thinking I was hot stuff with my big bright hot pink blush on my cheeks. And you know, nobody said anything to me, probably because all my friends were doing it at the same time too, but fourth funny beauty story has to do with mascara. So at the time, magazines were really popular, even more so than they are now, because we didn't really have the internet like we use it today when I was a kid. Gosh, I'm dating myself here. And they always had really good beauty tips in them. Well, one of the tips that I read at the time said if your mascara is getting clumpy, stick it in a little cup of hot water that you heat up in the microwave, and that'll help to liquefy it a little bit more, make it more usable. Well, I'm getting genius thought here. I'm like, well, if I'm gonna stick it in hot water, it's gonna get all liquefied. Why don't you just stick it in the microwave directly, right? Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Oh, so I put the mascara in the microwave and I put it on for maybe 10 seconds. It wasn't that long, it was 10 seconds. I'm standing there and all of a sudden, boom! Oh crap. And the worry that you saw on my face was not about what had happened to the mascara, it was about what had happened to the microwave. I'm like walking over to the microwave basically like this. I don't want to see, I don't want to see, I don't want to see. I open it up and the entire microwave is pitch black. And my dad was standing there in the kitchen while I was doing all this. My dad's an engineer. You knew he knew that this was going to happen. I mean, you knew that he knew, but he didn't say anything. And he didn't punish me for blowing up the mascara. Instead, he sat there and laughed about it. He thought it was the funniest daggone thing. Getting mascara out of a microwave is not fun. It's funny now. It's funny now. It wasn't funny at the time. It wasn't funny. The last beauty mistake that I made was, oh, it was awful. It had to do with my hair again. You think I would have learned by this time because this was before I did the hair straightener to my hair. So it was St. Patrick's Day at school and everybody was doing all of these, you know, cute little things for St. Patrick's Day where it was like face painting or doing like the body art or putting food coloring in their hair, you know, that kind of thing. So I begged my dad, take me to the beauty supply store and get some green coloring for my hair. So we go and we get this little jar. It looked like the Manic Panic stuff, but it wasn't Manic Panic. I don't even remember what the brand of it was, but it was a goop, kind of, and it was goopy. You put it into your hair and it didn't ever really dry. So I'm like stringing it through my hair, you know, putting streaks in it, and I went to school and it was so cool, you know. And here I am, my St. Patrick's Day green hair. So I go home that night and St. Patrick's Day is over. I want to wash it out of my hair, right? It is not coming out. It's not coming out. I didn't realize it at the time. It had like an oil base to it. So normal shampoo, even clarifying shampoo, would not take it out. So I had to go to school the next day with green coloring still in my hair. And by this time it had turned into this like waxy consistency to where it was even worse. My head, it looked like I had just greased up my head with this green slime and it was just there. I don't know how we figured this out, but my dad says use Dawn dishwashing liquid. We had used everything else under the sun trying to get this stuff out of my hair. Finally we used Dawn dishwashing liquid and that stuff came right out like that. So that stuff was pretty horrendous. Needless to say, I threw out that little tub of stuff for good. Let me know what your funny beauty mishaps have been and any really silly mistakes that you made in the past that were not funny at the time, but they're kind of funny now. I'd love to hear what you have to say because I don't want to feel alone in this. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.
Are you fed up with expensive experimentation? How much money have you spent on eyeshadows you don't know how to wear or you've become bored with? Well, now there's a way to save hundreds of dollars annually and eliminate eyeshadow guesswork. Discover over 1,000 pictures of combinations using eyeshadows from popular brands like MAC, Urban Decay, The Balm, Lorac, and so many more. With new combinations added weekly, you will never run out of ideas. Visit myeyeshadowconsultant.com and become a member today.